Welcome to Fancounters. My name's Nick.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And this week we've got an awesome young lady on the show who is a rising country music star. Her name is Jessie Chris.
Oh, such a sweetheart.
Yeah, we had a good time. So, but before we talk about that, I want to tell you, Elizabeth, about a podcast that I've been listening to. Since we started doing this show, I started searching around for other shows, not really to get ideas from, but just to see how other people are entertaining their folks. Mm-hmm. And I ran into another awesome family show podcast. It's called the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. It's a fun show where a father and son team up, and it's dedicated to helping parents maximize their kids' experiences. And that's really what we all want, right?
Yeah.
So we want to give our kids the best memories possible. And Adam, Anthony, and Zachary go on adventures, big and small, and they talk about their takeaways and experiences that come along.
Wow.
It's a very quick show. I listen to it while I'm sitting in Carline because they recommend you to.
Okay.
And the episodes are less than 15 minutes. So it's the perfect thing to have while taking kids to school and you're trapped in Carline.
I'm going to start listening to that. What's it called?
It's the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. And they're going to be on our podcast next week because they have celebrity encounters as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're going to join us just for a few minutes of that and talk about the celebrities that they've met. So we'll actually get to hear from Adam and Anthony.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's talk about this week's guest. We're just a few days from Christmas.
Oh, I know.
Woo, the craziness is nuts around here.
No, I got 40 people coming tomorrow.
Dang.
I know. And then got to do the extended family. It's my father's extended family tomorrow. The next day is my mother's extended family. And then on Christmas morning, we go to church on Christmas Eve. So on Christmas morning, we wake up, never get out of our pajamas. The only one that gets out of their pajamas is Mark, and that's because he has to go get the Chinese food. But I hear our Chinese restaurant's now going to deliver, so he may never get out of his jammies that day either.
That's awesome. We will see the Christmas Carol on Christmas Eve, and then we go to my mom's family, and that's kind of that side of the family. And then the next day we go to my wife's family for Christmas, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we jump in the RV on Monday and head to Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you have family up there. Mark has family.
We got to do that side of the family on Monday night.
Cool. Yeah. Very nice. Well, today let's talk about our guest. It's rising country star Jessie Chris. And earlier this year, Jessie made her national TV debut on The Today Show. She was also the first country artist ever to be named Elvis Duran's Artist of the Month.
She's opened up for iconic artists that include Luke Bryan, Chris Young, John Rich, and Trace Adkins. And she's performed at the Country Music Hall of Fame. Her talent doesn't stop with music. She has a heart of gold and is passionate about making sure that being kind to all and stomping out bullying is a priority.
You can find her online by visiting jessiechris.com. Her new song, Burn, is available on iTunes, and it's off her upcoming album to be released in January. And we're going to definitely ask her more about that during our conversation today.
Yes, we are.
All right, so enjoy the show.
Here's Jessie Chris.
Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is Fancounters, the podcast.
You're amazing. You need to come to Hollywood. I'm going to make you famous.
There was this mob of people, and they're screaming my name.
Crazy fans.
Stop following me. Don't come around my house. If you do, the cops are going to be at yours.
I think this guy wants to fight me. Ended up being a fan.
There's just like security guards with like M16 holding like fans back.
Are you kidding me?
I continually will get stopped.
Can I take a picture? Oh my God.
I definitely declined signing body parts.
Oh, I don't want to go there.
I'm the only one that's ever been on Sam Jackson and lived to tell about it.
That's why we call it Fancounters.
I don't think you're going to last on the air very long.
So welcome to Fancounters, Jessie. We're very excited that you agreed to come on the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so where are you coming to us from today? Where are you at?
I am from home in Massachusetts today, but I'm getting ready to head to New York City.
Ooh. And is there something big going on there?
Yeah, I'm visiting the Highway and iHeartRadio.
Ooh, that will be fun.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Awesome. Well, there's so much we want to talk to you about, and it's really kind of hard to decide where we should start. It does seem like 2017 was your year, and we mentioned in our opening that your first national TV appearance was on The Today Show in June, so I think maybe we should start there. In fact, 10 years ago, you were standing in front of those Today Show windows hoping for even to be on TV a half a second, and this year you were featured. Yes. So tell us about that.
Well, I mean, Well, I'll start from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I never imagined in a million years that I would actually be performing on the Today Show, because growing up, I loved performing, but I was also very shy. And so, something like that would have terrified me. And fast forward to today, I still can't believe it actually happened. And I think it's one of my favorite things I've done so far. And it was just so surreal. And if I could do it again, I would. I hope I get to do many more of those.
Did it seem like that experience for you went by in a blur?
Yeah, I was definitely shocked that it was happening. So I was definitely my head was in another zone. And then once it was done, I was like, oh my God, that just happened. It was a weird sensation, but it was what got me through it without freaking out.
Good. Just before your appearance, you were named Elvis Duran's Artist of the Month, the first country artist to ever achieve that honor.
They even gave me a radio play on Z100, which is their pop station. So
cool.
That was the craziest thing in the world, and such a big honor. And Elvis Duran is such a great guy, and I'm so thrilled.
Were you on an interview with him during that point?
Just on the Today Show.
Oh, okay. But you haven't been on his radio show?
No, but I was talking to Jeff. I was like, we should make that happen. And he was like, let's see what they say, because it is a pop, thing. But maybe because I was their country new artist of the month, maybe they'll have me in.
I think you deserve it.
Me too.
Oh, thank you.
Now, when I was doing some research, I found some pictures of you backstage at the ACM Awards, and you were posing with a Keith Urban, a very happy you with Keith Urban. So what was that experience like for you?
Well, I did not wake up that morning thinking I was going to meet Keith Urban. And I was doing an interview with the radio station, and while I was doing my interview, my manager, Jeff, saw Keith Urban, and he was like, oh my God, I have to do this for Jessie. And he made a bold move. He went up to Keith Urban, and he was like, I have your biggest fan right here, and she's just finishing an interview, and she would love to meet you. Could you just wait 2 seconds? And he waited, and I came out of my interview, and Jeff goes, there's someone here that wants to meet you. And I turned the corner, and it's Keith Urban.
Oh, my gosh.
Super cool.
What? And it was the coolest thing ever, and I got to tell him about how when I was 10 years old and I started taking guitar lessons, I didn't know what country music was, and my teacher actually gave me homework to listen to Keith Urban, and I had to learn his songs on the guitar, and that's how I fell in love with country music. And then I said to him, now I'm here backstage at the ACM Awards talking to you, and he was just so genuine and sweet, and I couldn't have dreamed of a better way to meet him. It was just really cool.
So how helpful have some other country artists been to you in your career as it's starting to explode here? In a good way, of course.
Yeah. Other country artists have been, the ones that I've gotten the chance to meet and talk to, they've been so kind and supportive. And I just think the genre of country music is such a different, family feel versus other genres of music. And so I've been very welcomed, and it's been so great to get feedback from some bigger artists. Chris Lane has been so sweet, and he listens to my songs and gives me his opinion, and I so appreciate that feedback, especially from people who are farther along in the process than me.
Have any of them that you've met turned into any kind of friendships that you see regularly?
Well, it's funny. So with Chris Lane, it's more of a friendship between him and Jeff, which all started with them just DMing each other late at night.
Well, that's funny.
Jeff literally slid into his DMs, and now they're homies and they're friends, and he invites them to shows whenever he's around, and he's so nice to both of us. He's great.
That's nice.
You mentioned that you were not so familiar with the country format before. What did you grow up listening to?
I grew up, since I started, country music and guitar around 10 years old. Before that, I was listening to Hannah Montana, basically whatever radio.
Disney bop, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Award shows and red carpets are often watched by just about everybody in America, and we always want to see our favorite stars outside their normal environment. So I was wondering, do you remember watching the Country Music Awards or any award shows growing up? And now, what's that like for you now that you're on red carpets?
I walked my very first red carpet in the spring at the Radio Disney Music Awards, and I was so nervous, like probably more nervous about that than a lot of other things, because I was just like, how do you walk? Like, I needed someone to literally teach me how to walk down the carpet, because I feel like I'm so like not coordinated. And but it was actually, I felt like that was a really good first red carpet, because I'm very close with like my Radio Disney Country family, and it was just it was not intimidating. It was like a very easy introductory red carpet, like very welcoming, and there were so many familiar faces, so I ended up feeling really comfortable.
Oh, good.
But like when I was a kid, I never imagined I'd actually be on a red carpet.
Did you skip the heels on the first red carpet?
Oh no, I did the heels.
Oh, good. All right. So,
but it's okay, because I do heels in any kind of terrain, so I'm pretty good at walking in those.
what about you, Elizabeth? You do heels in any terrain?
I don't do heels at all.
Oh.
I even did heels when I sang at a summer camp.
But I, as you know, live in my Crocs, and I
yeah.
can climb a mountain in those suckers. So I have Croc sandals on right now, even though it's, freezing outside. But I can do anything in those Croc sandals. I can run, I can climb a mountain, but there is not a snowball's chance I'm putting heels on.
But do you know that they have fuzzy Crocs for the winter?
They do, and they also, I have lied, because I do own a pair of stacked heels, but they are also Crocs.
I didn't know they made heels.
It's amazing. I used to have fuzzy Crocs, and I put little gibbets on them.
Yep, I have them. I have them when I take the dog outside.
That's amazing.
So you are from Boston. I've only been there to see the Red Sox and see that Cheers bar. So what's the music scene like there?
It's really cool because, years ago when I was like little and just first starting this, there really was no country music scene here in Boston. And for young kids, it really wasn't popular to be listening to country music. But that has just changed so much over the last like 5 or 6 years. And now there is like a country music scene in Boston, and all of these country music bars and venues are popping up everywhere in the area. And it's so cool to see so many more like local country artists just appearing, and it's so fun, and it's definitely really good for me that it's now so popular even here.
Do you still live in Boston, or do you have a permanent residence in Nashville?
So I still technically live in Boston, but I don't even know if I would call it living in Boston, because I'm really only here for a couple days at a time to switch out my suitcase. So I'm really just kind of like homeless.
All right.
So if you're visiting Boston for the first time, especially to check out these new country music bars and that kind of thing, what do you think, in your opinion, should you not miss?
There's a really popular country restaurant, and they always have live music, and it's called Loretta's. You should definitely go there, because I believe it's right near Fenway Park, which is a cool area. Mm-hmm. And something that's not related to country music that I really love in Boston is the JFK Museum. I went there for the first time in middle school, and I love the Kennedys. I think they're like a really cool family. And I did a song, 1963, and that took place kind of in that time period. And so I love that museum. It's really cool. And trying to think. If you love shopping, there's, oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
It's okay. We do that all the time, and then we edit them out,
right,
so it's okay.
There's the Prudential Center, which is like, and Newberry Street. There it is. Newberry Street is the outdoor one, which is mostly just window shopping for me, because it's like really expensive stores, but there's so much to see and do in Boston.
Cool. Let's talk about your music. Your first single from your upcoming album is Burn. It's a song you co-wrote with David Spencer. Tell us about your writing process.
So with Burn, we actually were recording a different song that day, and then we finished, and David Spencer was like, hey, I have this track I started working on for this song, and I don't really know what it's going to be, but maybe you can listen to it and help me make lyrics to it. So he played me the intro of the track, and I was like, this is really cool. I think we could do something with this. And a couple hours later, we had Burn, and it was one of the quickest co-writes ever. And what was cool that it was so not planned, and then it ended up being a single, which is so awesome.
Nice.
It's a great song, and your team also created a wonderful music video for that. And in it, you're driving a really sweet Jeep. So I'm kind of wondering, are you a Jeep kind of girl, or what is your dream car?
I do like Jeeps. I drive a Chevy Colorado at home, so I drive a pickup truck. But Jeeps are super fun because I like being able to, like, take the roof off.
Yeah.
But living in Boston, you can really only do that for like 2 months. And
Same here. We're in Milwaukee, so we have the same problem. June and July, and that's it.
Exactly. So maybe a pickup truck is a little more realistic here in Boston. But in that music video, it's funny because my director for the video emailed me leading up to the video, and he said, "Can you drive a standard?" And I thought that meant like a standard normal vehicle. And I was
like automatic.
I was like, yeah, I can. And then he told me later that he said to his sons, like, wow, I'm really impressed. Like, Jessie says she knows how to drive a standard. So I show up to the set the day we're filming Burn, and it's a stick shift, and I never driven one before. And so the director was like, we have two options. We could spend a couple hours trying to give Jessie a lesson on how to drive this thing, or we could just push the car and have her pretend to drive. So that's what we ended up doing. We had about like 5 guys pushing the Jeep, and then I would just hit the brake to stop it and pretend I was driving.
Are you kidding? So you're telling me when I'm watching that video, there's people pushing that Jeep?
Yes.
Okay, but you need to go learn how to drive a stick because it's a very important thing to have in life.
That's what a lot of people are telling me, and after that, I need to learn.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you should always have in your back pocket because you never know if you're going to get stranded somewhere where you got to drive someone home who's had a little bit overservedness and they have a stick car. So you should always learn that skill.
Right. Right, exactly.
I just think that's really funny because that had to be a new problem for the director that he wasn't really expecting is I need to now film this without getting any of the people.
Right.
Was that challenging or what?
A couple of times when we did that, they would push the Jeep up a hill and then let go of it and let me roll down a hill, and then I would hit the brakes.
Oh
then there were other scenes like then there were other scenes where they were pushing it, and it was amazing how it came out and looked so real. But that's movie magic.
You know we're going to watch that video again, right? You and I, as soon as we're done with this.
I was going to say, you should...
We're watching that video in a little bit.
I would love for you to release the behind the scenes of that video. That would be awesome.
I know. We did some sort of a behind the scenes, but I got to rewatch that because I can't remember if we did a segment on that. But I should do something even separate just to highlight that.
Yeah, if you have something, have Jeff send that to me. I would love to see it.
Yeah, that's cute.
Okay.
That'll be cute.
Definitely.
So your video for Burn and an older video for Crazy for You look awesome. So I'm kind of wondering because I'm in the video field. I do a lot of video stuff in here in the Milwaukee market. So how involved are you when you conceptualize a video?
The older I get and the more comfortable I am with what I'm doing, the more involved I've been. So every time I do a new video, I just get more and more involved. And from everything, from the outfits to helping with the location and the storyline, with the director that I've used for 1963 and Burn, I mean, he would write a script for the video, and we would go back and forth for like a week trying to, bounce off different ideas for the script and make sure we really have the best storyline for the song. And, there's just so much that goes into it, and I love it so much because, with what I do, filming a music video only comes like maybe a couple times a year, and it's so much fun when it comes.
Yeah.
So I love when I get the opportunity to do a music video.
Were you in the editing room at all for either video?
Yes. So they put together like a rough draft, and then they bring me in, and I am the worst because I'm so picky about everything. Like, I just feel like if I don't absolutely love every second of it, then I'm going to be stuck with that forever. So I'm definitely the worst. I have them like changing everything and fixing it all, but they're so great. They work with me, and it's a team effort, and then it comes out and everyone's happy, and it's so much fun.
That's probably when you know you have a great team, is when they don't get frustrated with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One more question about the process of things. Walk us through how one of your songs grows from a writing idea to recording it and how long that takes.
Length of time it takes can really vary. But usually when you write a song, the two types of ways I've written a song is either it's just on a guitar or just like a vocal recording on your phone, or with David Spencer a few times, like he's really good at coming up with tracks, and then we use that to kind of like spark ideas for songs. So, but a lot of times it's really just, you know, a really rough recording or video on a phone of me or one of my co-writers, you know, playing the guitar and just singing something, and then it grows from there, and then we, you know, record it into a demo, and then the demo turns into like actual musicians coming in and playing on it, and then me recording the keeper vocals. And, you know, the process can take anywhere from like, you know, a few weeks to like a month or 2 months.
Now, do you do some of your own background vocals, or do you bring in other females to do that?
So on my first album, most of the background vocals were somebody else, but then on, I believe, everything after my first album and my entire new album that's about to come out, I do practically every single background vocal.
Cool. That's pretty neat.
And the only ones I don't do are because it's a male.
Oh, yeah, of course. You haven't probably figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah, I can't get that low.
Right.
Isn't there a synthesizer for that?
There might be. Hey, so you've got...
Yes, we could make you sound like a man, but...
Let's not.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, let's not.
Let's not.
You've got a new album coming out in January. I looked on your calendar and I saw you have a release party on January 24th in Boston. So I was wondering, what can you tell us about the songs on the new album?
So I wrote 7 of the 8 songs, well, wrote or co-wrote on this album, and the only song I didn't write, 2 of my really good songwriter friends wrote, and they thought that it was such a good fit for me, and I agreed. And the songs are very high energy, and they definitely pushed my comfort zone, which is so important as an artist, to keep pushing that comfort zone and not staying in it. And I'm so excited about this new music because you know, it's still me. Like, you'll listen to it and you'll be like, oh, that's totally Jessie. But it's almost like just new and improved. Like, it just keeps growing, and I love that so much.
That's probably the best thing about, you know, being an artist, being able to express yourself, and the changes that you are, you know, we're always growing as people.
Right.
And you get to do that in your music. You know, it gets to grow up with you a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if you listen to my music over the years, and then with the new album coming out, you'll really be able to see, you know, you get to kind of listen to me grow up for the last, like, 5 years.
We see that you've got dates on your schedule for Hawaii and Orlando next year. Are you planning to tour to promote this new album?
Absolutely. I'm going to go everywhere that will have me, you know, to promote this album and meet new people. And I love being on the road. I love seeing new places. It's one of the most fun parts about what I get to do. And I love being on the road. I can't wait to get out there and start playing my new songs. It's going to be so fun.
How involved are you as an artist when you're planning a tour? Are you helping to pick those cities, or is it sort of like your team saying, this is where you're going to sell well, and that's where we're going to send you? How does that work?
It's definitely a mix of both. You know, Jeff and I will go back and forth a lot on, you know, places that we think I should hit up. Even sometimes he'll be like, where do you want to go next? And I'll be like, let me think about this. Where do I want to go next? And, you know, it's really fun. For me, I think the more hands-on I get to be in this project, the more fun it is and the more rewarding it feels when things go well.
Awesome. Milwaukee, that's where you want to go next.
Yeah.
We want to come see you live.
We do.
What concert have you attended that ranks number 1 for you, and why?
I love Keith Urban in concert. I just think everything about his show and just the whole thing is just so amazing, and his music is unbelievable. And whenever I see him live, I don't want it to end. And then when it ends, I'm really like, wow, I could have stayed for another hour. And Jeff actually went last night to see Garth Brooks live for the first time, and he was telling me, like, Jessie, this guy was climbing on things and running around and like just crazy energy. And
it is why he continues to get Entertainer of the Year.
Right.
Because he is unbelievably crazy.
Right. And so he was showing me videos of Garth Brooks last night, and he was like, you need to climb on things. And I was like, all right, we'll see about that. But definitely that does inspire me to bring up the energy level.
So what is a Jessie Chris concert like right now?
A Jessie Chris concert, I hope, is very fun for everyone. My band is so great. They're definitely very entertaining. They're the guys that played with me on the Today Show. And, I definitely play all my new music. I throw in like a cover, and I definitely play a couple of my older songs for the fans that have been around for the whole journey. And every concert begins and ends with a meet and greet, because I love to meet everyone that supports me if it's possible. And that's really important to me. So if you come to a Jessie Chris show, I promise you I will do everything. I get in trouble a lot for making like impromptu meet and greets in random places, and then security's like, come on, kid, like this wasn't in the schedule. But I mean, I don't care. That's not what matters. What matters is that, I'm showing my fans and my followers that, like, I really care about them too.
What's the craziest fan encounter that you've had with somebody who has come to your show or a meet and greet?
Oh my gosh. There's definitely been quite a few, interesting ones. I get a lot of like marriage proposals from like 12-year-old boys.
That's awesome.
So that's always funny.
Do they come with rings?
One kid took a $1 bill and folded it into a ring and gave it to me. Because he didn't have a ring. But a lot of the younger fans get really cute because, sometimes they didn't come prepared with something for me to sign, and so they just find whatever they can for me to sign, like maybe a body part or like one kid it was an outdoor show, and he went into the woods and grabbed this piece of wood, and he was like, can you sign this?
Oh.
So kids are really cute, and they get creative, and I love seeing them. They always surprise me. Like every time there is something that I leave there laughing about, I'm like, that was awesome.
So what's the weirdest gift a fan has ever given you?
Well, I've had fans, not so much weird, but I've had fans bring me like hot chocolate when I've done like a colder outdoor show, and fans will draw pictures and write me letters, which aren't weird, but they're so sweet. And I love getting, little surprises from fans, because it really, it makes me realize I'm connecting with people and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it just feels great. So I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of like a weird gift.
Well,
but
I think
a lot
a
of people
dollar
will
bill
tell
and a
me
ring
to, like,
is
sign
weird.
their foreheads and stuff, which is definitely
You
weird.
sign it in a Sharpie on their forehead?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be there for a while.
And a lot of like teenage boys will ask me to sign their stomachs, and little kids will ask for like their arm or their cheek, and I'm always like, are your parents cool with this? And then the parents are usually like, yeah, it's fine.
That's funny. It'll come off eventually.
Yeah, in like 4 days.
Any other fan experiences that really stick out to you, or even have you met somebody that, maybe you had a brief conversation with, but it stuck with you for a long time?
Yeah, there was a show over the summer where it was a city where I'm played on the radio a lot, and so people who came to the show were actually singing my songs with me, which was a really cool feeling. And there was this one little girl in the front, and she was singing every single word to every single one of my songs ever.
Gosh.
And yeah, I was impressed. And then after the show, her and her parents came up to me during a meet and greet, and the parents were like, this is our daughter. She is such a big fan. She knows every song. And I'm like, I know. I saw her. It was amazing. And then her parents were like, sweetheart, sing her something. And so the girl was like, no. And they were like, come on, sing Jessie one of the songs. And she was like, I'm too shy. And they nudged her one more time. And she goes, burn baby, burn, baby, burn, baby, burn. It was like all the sass in the world, and it was the cutest thing ever, and it was just, I was like dying inside. I was like, you are just a little ball of energy. It was so cute. But then there's some other like fan connections I've made with, I've played in children's hospitals before, and I've made some connections with some of those kids, and I still have relationships with them. And there's this one little girl, Abby, and I just recently played at her school because she's not in the hospital right now, but she's been in the hospital more days of her life than she's been out of the hospital for. So I've made some really amazing friendships through that too, and they really inspire me.
That is very cool. We're going to talk about charity here real quick because one topic we've talked about before on Fan Counters, it seems to always come out because celebrities are so into getting rid of the problem of bullying, and I think that that's awesome. In fact, I wrote a whole feature film that deals with the topic, and several of our guests are doing their part to stomp it out. So we saw that you get behind this cause as well. In fact, you're one of the faces of Disney's Choose Kindness, their anti-bullying campaign, and it's a topic that not only did you choose to get behind, you've kind of lived through it. So I was wondering if you could tell us about your experiences that you dealt with growing up. How has this affected you?
When I was growing up, when I was 5 years old, I started performing, and I was on stage doing dance and musical theater and singing. And then when I was 10, that's when it turned into more guitar and country music. And so my whole life in school, the fact that I was on stage and performing, I think it made me an easier target for kids my age to laugh at me and make fun of me because it was different. And as I got a little bit older and more into country music wasn't cool for kids here when I was growing up. And so I had a really hard time with that in school. And by the time I made it to high school, I had transferred to my high school as a sophomore, which is really hard to do because everybody already has their friends. And a lot of people were like, who's this new girl who thinks she's a country singer? And I wanted to try out for one of the sports teams. I wanted to be on the field hockey team. And the girls, when I showed up to tryouts, because I thought that'd be a good way to make friends at a new school.
Yeah.
And when I showed up to tryouts, one of the girls on the team told the whole team nobody passed with the new girl. And so we're warming up, and I have no one to warm up with. And I was already nervous enough because I didn't know anyone, and I was the new girl, and that's scary in itself. And then a couple nights later, they have this like private Facebook page where only the team members are on it, and I wasn't on it because I wasn't officially a team member.
And they weren't going to approve you to be in it, probably.
Right, and one of the girls on the team showed me this after, but I don't know why, but one girl had found my music online and posted it in the group, and girls were just, I swear every one of them had something to say, and it was just, she's not even pretty, like, her voice is probably just all auto-tuned, like, she's not even good, like, what the heck, this is so weird. And obviously there was more foul language and harsher vocabulary, but I'm not going to repeat that. Yeah. But that was really hard because I felt like nobody was accepting me for who I was, and I was scared to like make any friends. And before high school, even in middle school, like I had been shoved against lockers and cyberbullied and like rumors, and so like by the time I was like, I don't know, 14, 15, I had zero self-confidence. I wanted to make my music a secret. Like, I didn't even want to do it anymore because I was so scared of what people were going to say about me. And so I became literally antisocial. Like, I missed out on school field trips, school dances, events, because I didn't want to be there because people were just so horrible to me. And the way I got over it was because I pushed myself away from the kids that were, hurting me. I spent all that time just in my room playing my guitar and practicing what I do. And the more that I practiced, the more I got confident in that. And I started performing again, and this time it was when I really decided to push myself as an artist. And now a lot of those people, all my friends are in college now, so they're kind of scattered. Well, I wouldn't call them friends. All my peers are in college now, and so they're scattered like everywhere. And so when I go to, I don't know, say California, for example, like someone who literally told me to give up because I'm never going to be good enough will send me a message and be like, hey, oh my gosh, you're coming to my area. Let's totally hang out.
Oh, no.
Everyone wants to be your friend now.
It's definitely funny because it's almost like poetic justice. And I definitely feel good about the fact that, I didn't listen to them, because if I had given up, I never would have known what I could have done. And now every single day, I love what I do, and it's a new adventure, and it's so much fun, and I get to connect with so many amazing people. And so I'm really glad I didn't listen to the people who told me to give up. And so that's why it's really important for me to go into schools and talk to kids about my story and what I went through, because I know that a lot of them are going through similar things. And I'm a big sister at home, so I like to see myself as like a big sister to my younger fans.
So what would you tell some of our young people who are listening right now who are being bullied? What should they do?
I always tell them that, well, depending on what age they are, if they're really, really young, I tell them, to find a trusted adult or an older sibling or somebody that you feel comfortable talking to about it and, letting them know what's going on. But if there's somebody that's like a teenager and it's not really cool to tattletale anymore, then, you can either choose to, fight this on your own and just ignore them and just brush it off, which is hard to do, but it's possible. Or you can, I tell them to find ways, like an outlet, to just let out that frustration. And for me, my outlet was my music. And instead of being mean to other people because I was being bullied, I took out my frustration through music. And so I tell them, like, what is it you love to do? Is it basketball? Is it, playing the trumpet or dance? Like, let your anger, like, fuel that passion and, drive you to work harder at what it is you love to do. So that's usually the advice I give them.
I think it's important, just to finish up the story a little bit. Did it ever get better for you, and at what point?
High school, no, I don't know that it ever really got better, because my senior year of high school, I actually was ahead on credits because I knew that I was traveling a lot in high school for the music, and I knew that I didn't want to be stuck in high school for like the whole time and not able to do my music.
Right.
So by senior year, I only had one class left to graduate. So my school, they were like, you're gone a lot and you still kept up your grades. And so they let me do my senior year, my one class online, and I still got to show up and walk at graduation. So I was out of high school a year early.
Okay.
And so the second that I was out of that negativity that was around me every day, I was like way more comfortable being myself, because now I was surrounded by like a positive support group and like just only people who I really felt like cared about me. And so that's when it really changed. And, now people will say things still, and I'm just like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me anymore like it did, because like I know who to trust. I know who my family is and who really supports me, and that's all you need.
And it's important to note, high school, although the 4 years seems like forever, it is such a short period of your whole life.
It really is.
Yeah. Adulthood, and once you get out of school, it's not always like that. It does.
It gets better.
Totally.
It really gets better.
You're also involved in supporting our veterans, and recently you performed for the... That is a tongue twister.
I'm going to take it.
All right, Elizabeth's going to
You're also involved in supporting our veterans, and recently you performed for the Wounded Warriors at the Walter Reed Medical Center in Washington, D.C. How did that performance affect you?
So that performance was definitely very heartwarming, because if you think about it, the only reason that I get to have the freedom to chase my dreams is because there are people out there like putting their life on the line for our country. And so, performing there was my way of thanking these people for the sacrifices they make, because I seriously wouldn't get to do what I love. And I think one of the most touching moments from that day was I met a boy who was pretty close to my age, maybe a couple of years older, and he only had one leg. And it's just so eye-opening when you're seeing just truly the sacrifices being made, and it makes you realize how much we kind of take for granted. And it's so important to say thank you to, you know, our veterans. And so for me, that was such an important experience. And I also missed my school trip to DC when I was a kid because I was being bullied. So that was my first trip to DC, and I felt like this was such a, you know, more heartwarming experience. And I'm so grateful for that.
You also became an ambassador for the Be the Light campaign, and that one focuses on random acts of kindness to spark love, hope, and compassion. So talk to us a little bit how you became involved in the organization and what's been the best part for you so far.
Sylvania, the light company, their headquarters are actually in Massachusetts, which is where I'm from. So we got connected through that, and then they were like, well, we're doing this Be the Light campaign, and we think you'd be perfect for it. And so working with them has been so much fun. I actually really love their products too, which is they just came out with like smart lights that
I have seen those.
You control from your phone.
Yeah.
And they can change colors and do all sorts of things. So my room is pretty sweet right now. But
we need to get sponsored by them.
I love what the campaign's all about because, you know, when you do random acts of kindness and other people see it, it's like a chain reaction. It inspires other people to do, you know, just randomly be nice to somebody. And I think we need more of that in the world right now. And, you know, the best part of that has just been, you know, meeting so many great people on the project and just getting to spread the kindness. I just think that in itself is just so rewarding. And I'm so glad I'm part of that campaign. It's definitely really cool.
So you talked a little bit about how important the support system you have at home is. So let's get a little personal here and talk about what support system you have at home. You have brothers and sisters?
I have two younger brothers. One is 18 and one is 13.
Okay. And are your parents both at home with you?
Yes, and both my parents are home, and they're all so supportive of everything I'm doing.
This is always near and dear to my heart. Do you have a family pet that you love?
We do. We have two labs. We have a black lab and a yellow lab, and they are the best ever for when I come home from a really long stretch on the road and I just snuggle with them. It's great.
Isn't that the best? We have a dog like that too, and I'm always like, oh, I just needed you today.
Aww.
I have a cat that's like that.
Friends.
Yeah, cats don't really care about you. That cat does not
the one
care
upstairs
about you.
does.
No, it doesn't.
I think I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, you are? So is Elizabeth.
Yeah, I am too.
She comes over to do the
I
show.
used to have a cat, and I was allergic to it.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have probably dreamed of becoming a country music star, or at least a music star, for a long time. And now that you're becoming an established star, what lives up to those expectations you had and what falls short? What's not exactly how you thought?
What's not exactly how I thought was I thought it would be like all glamour all the time. And there's definitely like, I swear it's like 80% not glamorous and 20% really glamorous. And what's funny is to an outsider, all they see is probably like the glamorous stuff. And then there's definitely a lot that goes into it that is just not. And so I think that's one of the first things that I was like, okay, so I'm not sparkly like Hannah Montana all the time, but that's okay. And then what exceeds my expectations is, let me think. I just think just everything, like the magic of it. Like when you're writing a song and it comes together and it really does feel magical. And before I started doing this, I didn't think that it would feel that way. I didn't think it would be that way. But I guess when you really love what you do, it just, feels like extra great. And so I guess it's that feeling that I didn't expect I would get to have. So it's been really great.
So speaking of Hannah Montana, she, of course, did the show. Miley did the show with her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. And then many years later, you got a chance to sing Achy Breaky Heart with him. Tell us about how that encounter was.
So that completed my childhood. Because I watched him every single day on this teeny tiny little TV I had in my room that was like from forever ago. It was like a dinosaur, that TV. And so when I met him, it was almost like I felt like I knew him from like years. But I didn't, because he was just playing a character on a show. But so I was definitely nervous about what he would be like. I did not want meeting him to ruin how much I loved that show growing up. But it was the most amazing thing ever. He was so nice and so supportive, and it seriously completed my childhood, and just such a cool experience, especially because on the show he definitely sang that song a few times. So I mean, if somebody told me when I was like 8 and watching that show that someday I'd sing with him, I would think you're crazy, but I'm so glad it happened. It's so cool.
Well, I have 2 children, and I am significantly older than you are, but my children's names are Oliver and Lily, and I get it all the time. Did you name them after Hannah Montana? I'm like, I didn't even know what it was.
I didn't even think of that.
So funny.
All the time people say that to me. They're like, you named them after Hannah Montana? I go, oh, sweetheart, I don't think you have any idea how old I am. I'd have never seen the show, but I have now. I've seen it since then. But yes, I have an Oliver and a Lily. Those are my children's names.
That's amazing. And then you should get a dog and name it Jackson.
Yes. Unfortunately, my dog's name is Finn.
You can change it. He won't know.
That's so funny.
You mentioned we talked about the Keith Urban encounter and the Billy Ray Cyrus one. Do you have any other celebrity encounters that have kind of made you freak out on the inside?
I think when I opened for Trace Adkins like a month ago, that was really cool because he's just he's one of those artists that I think a lot of people in country music just get starstruck about. And my mom is such a big Trace Adkins fan. She was with me backstage at the ACM Awards, and we told her, like, Mom, there's going to be celebrities here. You really need to just remain calm. And she was calm through the whole thing until Trace Adkins walked in, and she put her hand on her heart, and she goes, Trace.
Aw.
Well, and he's huge. He's an enormous man.
He is huge.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward 6 months, I got to open for him, and Mom was way more chill about that. But, he was very kind and super cool. And then another artist that I've been super starstruck about meeting was Rascal Flatts, because they were with Keith Urban. They were one of the first artists I was exposed to in country music, so they're a huge musical influence on me.
Yeah, we are huge Rascal Flatts fans.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Nick and I met over 20 years ago, that's how old we are, at a country radio station.
Yeah,
I used to be the promotions director, and so we've met a lot of these people as well and had a chance to spend time with them, and it really, Rascal Flatts is one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, and Trace Adkins, too.
So great.
Yeah,
Because
I love
Trace Adkins is so genuine. Even if he's faking how happy he is to see you or talk to you or whatever, you would never know it. He's so suave and cool.
No, when he came into Wisconsin, I actually kidnapped him and his road manager, and we went boating for the afternoon because they'd been on the road for so long and seen nothing but the inside of stadiums and things. I was like, would you like to go boating? Because we have a lake cottage that's real close to here. And so I grabbed him and we went out for an afternoon on the lake because it was just a really long tour.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so sweet of you.
See what you have to look forward to if you come to Milwaukee?
That's right. We know what life on the road looks like, man. We'll help you out.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
What is something, Jessie, about you, maybe your music, maybe your hobbies, that you've never told anybody and you were waiting to come on our show to tell us for the first time?
I am like a closet chef, I guess.
Ooh.
I really like finding new recipes and cooking, and my family really likes when I do that too, because they get to taste test it. And for me, I think it's my way of decompressing when I'm not on the road. And when you're on the road, you're probably eating crappy food.
Yes.
So when I come home, it's so much fun for me to, first of all, do something hands-on and make something from scratch, and then also get to eat it and enjoy it because it's way better than the food I'm getting on the road. So that's one of my ways of decompressing.
And what is what's your signature dish if you had one? What would be the one thing?
Okay, so it sounds like not very fancy, but I'm not a fancy person. One of my fan favorites, and when I say fans, I really just mean my family because they're the only ones that eat my food. They love when I make, it's basically like chicken pot pie, but the top is like cornbread instead of that.
Oh,
like,
that sounds fantastic.
Thing. It's really good.
One of the things I like, Jessie, to ask people, because there's like millions and millions of hours of programming out there. So I always like to get recommendations from my guests on what TV shows they're watching right now. What's on your DVR?
I watch The Walking Dead every Sunday night.
Woohoo! I love that.
It surprises a lot of people. It surprises a lot of people, but it's a really cool show. And then my younger brother and I, we just started watching Stranger Things on Netflix. I guess I'm into the really scary stuff, apparently.
Me too. Not Elizabeth, though.
No, I'm out.
My guilty pleasure that's totally different from those shows is like The Bachelor.
Okay.
Because I mean, I write so many love songs, and to watch, that is just, it's very entertaining.
If you keep admitting it, they're going to put you on The Bachelorette before you know it.
There you go.
Well, Chris Lane performed in one of the episodes, and I was like, okay, that's cool.
Well, maybe you'll just perform then.
Yeah.
That would be okay.
Yeah,
you don't need to go through the
exactly.
scrutiny of finding someone. You just perform. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. That's what he did. So I'm like, okay, that's the best of both. You get to be on it, but just you don't have to deal with the drama.
Now, Nick and I are huge movie fans and go almost every Tuesday. And we read that your movie night with your best friend and her hedgehog. What was the last movie you saw?
Oh my gosh, what was the movie we watched? It was a chick flick. It was, and it's not like brand new, but it was called The Spectacular Now, and it was good. I mean, it was a chick flick, and it was definitely a girls' night. And the hedgehog bit me, but it was.
Oh. He looks so nice.
That hedgehog was really cute and nice until she bit me, but we're still friends. It's okay.
With Christmas just days away, what are you going to be doing on Christmas, and how do you guys celebrate in your family?
So this year, the week leading up to Christmas, my family and I are going to California because we have family friends there, and also while I'm there, I'll visit a couple stations and be productive. But it will be like a nice time to spend with my family, and then we come back like right in time for Christmas Eve. So I'll be home for actual Christmas, and so that'll feel really good. And we basically just hang out and eat a ton of food and open gifts and go to church. And I love Christmas. It's so great.
Me too. We've been talking how excited, like I've been getting, because I have 5.5-year-old twins. So like the energy in this house every morning when they get to open a piece of chocolate from their advent calendar is like crazy.
It's hilarious.
I love advent calendars. And now they make like makeup advent calendars.
No
so every
way.
day you open it and get a new makeup product. So I'm all about that.
Yeah, when you get a little older, there's a wine one too. That's the one I'm excited about.
I think there's a tea one too, where every day you get a new flavor of tea. I think they're so fun. I need every advent calendar, so every day I get like 5 prizes.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So what are you asking Santa for this year?
I think I asked for a sparkly guitar strap. So that would be really cool.
All right.
I'm going to add this question in earlier because I just thought of it, but when we were talking about movies, do you have a favorite Christmas movie that plays either on TV or a classic?
I love the Grinch movie, the one where, the cartoon is cute, but I love the one where it's like real people. I think
Carrey.
It's hysterical. Yes, it's hysterical. I watch it every year. It's great.
Awesome. Finally, as we look forward to 2018, I think that, like I mentioned at the top of the interview, I think 2017 really seemed to be your year, but I think you're really going to kick butt in 2018. So what are you most looking forward to for next year?
First, I'm super looking forward to releasing this new album next year, and I think that that's really going to set the tone for the year. I think that I'm so excited for what comes with that, and I'm going to be doing a really big school anti-bullying tour, the biggest one I've ever done. And so I'm going to be all over the place, and I'll be visiting more places I've never been to. So I'm just so excited to kick it all up a notch and, take it to the next level next year.
Okay, so where can we find you on social media?
So all of my social media links, like my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, it's all on my website, which is jessiechris.com.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Jessie. It has been a wonderful time.
It's been super fun. Thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you so much for having me.
No problem. All right, so if you're in Milwaukee, we're going to email Jeff, and we're going to come see you.
We will.
Alrighty.
And if you need a break, we'll take you someplace fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Have a very Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you. You too.
So that's an exciting time in her life. She's got a new album coming out, going to go on tour next year. Like, to be a fly on that wall to the excitement going on in her house has to be
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, she was such a sweetheart.
Yeah, she was a good interview. We are always on social media at facebook.com/fancounters. You can subscribe there and follow all of our updates. You can also email us at
hello@fancounters.com.
We'd love to get some feedback from you. In fact, the best way to give us feedback is to go to iTunes, and if you have subscribed there, or even if you haven't, you can do a 5-star review, say a few words about the show and what you like, and certainly we'd love to hear the feedback.
Yes, we would.
So that's going to do it for us. This has been our Christmas show, and we hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas in the next few days.
Yep, have a very safe and happy holiday with your family.
And next week, we've got a big show because we are going to be talking about your encounters with celebrities, and pretty excited to read those.
Yeah, some of them that have come in are quite funny.
Yeah, so join us next week for your stories. It's your show next week on Fancounters.
Bye.